The long-awaited ministerial retreat has kicked off with ministers, representatives of state governments, and stakeholders in the power value chain present. This retreat is described as a first step towards the establishment of the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategic Implementation Plan as required by the Electricity Act 2023.
40% of the population do not have access to electricity, and clearly to Mr. President and all well-meaning stakeholders, that is unacceptable.
We need our investors, financiers, and the Nigerian electricity supply industry value chain players to dimension the opportunities and electricity sector alignment with Nigeria's energy transition plan to ensure we meet our energy transition aspirations.
Some of the factors identified as being responsible for eroding the confidence of investors in the sector includes poor track records in contracting and contract management. To correct this, the Minister of Power believes that there is the need to restructure the transmission company into two bodies: the independent system operator and the transmission service provider.
This restructuring must synchronize with the evolving landscape of state electricity markets, addressing calls for the decentralization of the national grid into regional grids. We must ask whether the government should directly provide electricity nationwide or rather facilitate its provision.
10 years ago, there was the privatization exercise. To say the least, it has underwhelmed, it has underperformed. It can even go as far as to say the results have been disappointing.
Experts here say resolving Nigeria's nagging epileptic power supply will require huge investments, including in solar energy.
This ministry would like to see more utility-scale solar power plants by 2030, which brings added responsibility for investment in generation and grid stability.
Only 14% of the $100 billion per annum investment is expected to even come from the public.
As at 2022, 70.5% of Nigeria's electricity grid was generated from thermal plants, 27.3% from hydro, while solar and other power plants made up 2.2%. But the Minister of Power says the pricing of gas being used by the generating companies in dollars remains a major issue. Just on Monday, the Transmission Company of Nigeria confirmed that the national grid had experienced yet another system collapse, though the TCN later confirmed that power supply had since been restored, except for a few areas. The collapse comes months after a similar incident occurred in September, which threw the entire country into total darkness. With this gathering of stakeholders in the power sector at this retreat, it is hoped that the sector will finally begin to experience improved investments, increased coverage, and distribution of electricity across the country. Georgina Ndukwezayenka, Arise News.